says we are live. Hello out there on the viewer side of things. We're oh man, I'm so screwed up right now. Welcome to this. Oh man, this is a great. We're off to a great start already, folks. Welcome to This Week Unloaded. This is episode number 48, if I can count properly. And with us tonight, we have the Kingpin, but not Wilson Fisk. We have David Bowling. How are you tonight, David?
If it wasn't for those darn kids and that dog. Oh, wrong. Never mind. I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me, Rich.
Yeah, I think you're confusing Scooby-Doo with Daredevil.
We don't need to talk about that anymore. Let's just move on.
And Gary's back. How are you tonight, Gary?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the invite.
Yep. And next to him, we would have Mr. Rupan. How are you tonight, Rupan?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Rich?
I don't know, man. We'll find out if we get this thing going better. We're up to a good start
here.
All right. And next we have, making his first appearance on the show, a Bloke's 2 Cents. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, Rich. How you doing, man? Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, not a problem. So, first thing I want to talk about is actually something. Yeah, there's actually something I want to talk about tonight. Apparently, this broke today, and we were talking about it in the pre-show. For those of you out there watching who don't know this, they have decided who they are casting as the next James Bond. And it's a black woman. They are going full social justice warrior on this. If I have an article from Fox News pulled up, go back. And where's my screen share button? I will share this in a second with y'all so you can see that I am not making this up. Oh, crap. See that, or do I have to adjust it? Deal with the growing pains, folks. Okay, I'm not going to do that. All right, we'll go full screen with it, though, so y'all can maybe read it. Yes, next 007 be revealed in Bond 25. That's a great name for a movie, too, right there, I'll tell you. But anyway, yeah, reports claim that the next 007 will be played by British actress Lashana Lynch. For those of you who don't know, that's the one who was Captain Marvel's sidekick, best friend, Air Force pilot in the appropriate name Captain Marvel movie. When you scroll down here, you find out that, Daniel Craig is going to be in the movie, but he's just in the movie, basically, I guess, to hand off the 007 tag to this woman right here. And the reason why they're doing this is because they need to bring Bond up to the modern century or some nonsense. And, it's the whole Me Too movement. I mean, they've literally come out and said, trying to find where it is. Yep, right here. They're setting him up or setting her up, whatever, to be more in line with the Me Too movement. It is what it is, I guess, but they're going to be ruining James Bond. Anybody have any thoughts on this?
Well, I'll just give you my opinion. As far as being politically correct, I think they should have deviated from the James Bond. James Bond has always been either Scottish or British. But deviating it to a female character, I think they should have maybe done a runoff, but I don't think she should take the main character in there. That's my view.
Yeah, when we were talking about it in the pre-check, Kingpin brought up something in her about, what was it, Bond was just a code name, David? Is that what you were saying?
That's what I mean. James Bond doesn't exist. He's a make-believe character. So if they want to change the race or the sex or whatever of it, just make another movie. You know, forcing it down people's throats like this is why I'm going to sit back and laugh when the numbers come out of the box office and it made like 50 cents. And, you know, the studio has to sell a bunch of stuff because they flopped. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get exactly what they deserve. They came out stuffing this in people's faces, and people are not going to go watch the movie because it's going to be a terrible movie. And then that's going to be their, oh, the people didn't come to watch it because they're racist, sexist, bigot, homophobes. That's what they're going to get, and that's what they deserve. Now, if they wanted to just make James Bond a black dude, an Asian dude, any other kind of they may want to make James Bond a woman. That's fine. He doesn't exist. You can change the characteristics of a character. But when you force it on people like this, that's not going to ride.
The thing,
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
the thing is, James Bond was a creation of Ian Fleming, who had a certain persona, a certain character in mind when he wrote his novels to start with. And I'm right along there with Kingpin. If you want to come up with a spy movie with a black female lead, then by all means do so. But don't call it a James Bond movie. I mean, that'd be about like making Gilligan's Island over with, you know, Melissa McCarthy as a title character or something like that. You know, it's not even close to believable. So why we're just juxtaposing everything over just to prove a social point, I'm not real sure what the point is, and it will not be successful. I have to agree.
Yeah, this isn't anything they're doing it with either, which is what makes it this much worse because they're doing it with the Little Mermaid. They're turning Ariel into a black woman. Meanwhile, if you go back to the original source material, which is Hans Christian Andersen's book, the description he gives is clearly a redheaded white woman or a white girl because she was only about 14, 15, maybe 16 in the book in the original Disney movie.
Well, and see, Disney already knows better because they've had success making, you know, the Asian woman or the Indian woman or the black princess. They've had success making those movies and developing those characters, so they could easily just do it again. But instead of doing that, they want to change this character when they could just make their own character.
Find a story that, you know, in Disney's case, they could find a story where there was a black princess. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there somewhere. I mean,
I was really hoping
good.
for Idris Elba.
Yeah,
The black
that
dude
would.
who played Luther. That dude was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also Heimdall in the Marvel movies. Yeah.
Well,
I
there was
think he'd play like a. Oh, go ahead.
no. Go ahead, Rupen. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, I just think to me he kind of reminds me of like almost like a Sean Connery, like a more modern day Sean Connery.
Yeah, he's Black Sean Connery essentially, and it would make it. I could see that because it wouldn't be a complete social justice thing like what they're saying this is. I mean, they flat out have come out and said that they're doing this because of the Me Too movement. That's their whole reasoning.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an awkward movement. I think it's going to fail also. They're bringing Disney into James Bond.
It's not the first time cartoons have changed characters either. What was it, The Princess and the Pea a few years ago? It might have been more than a few years ago. But they turned the princess and then into a black girl too. So I guess there's a history of it going back a little ways. Even looking at Marvel comics, you had Nick Fury went from being a white guy to being Samuel L. Jackson. And no, I'm not just making that up. If you look at what they said, they were basing the black version of Nick Fury on Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson has a famous quote where he picked up the first time he picked up a Nick Fury comic, and he saw the new Nick Fury in there. He got this look. He had this look on his face. He's like, "That's me." And he literally flat out said that he was like, and he says it in interviews all the time that Nick Fury is him, which is why. And when they cast Nick Fury for the Marvel Universe, there was nobody else that they had, and they were suggesting for the role. He had it before he even tried out for it because of the fact that they wanted him, and that's why they made the comic book character into him. That was their intent the whole time.
One of the things, and I'm sorry to cut Snob off so you can introduce him, but one of the things that is the biggest BS about it is if you took Shaft, I just saw commercials, there's a new Shaft movie coming out. If you made Rich White Shaft, their heads would explode, and the racist, oh my God, you're cultural appropriation, and da-da-da-da-da, and all that other kind of nonsense. So their tolerance is not tolerant. They are the most intolerant people that there are. Sorry, Snob, I didn't mean to interrupt you, bro.
I ain't got nothing to say. I didn't even know what was going on, so.
Oh, we were talking about the story that came out today. They finally announced who they've cast as the new James Bond, and it's a black woman.
Okay, never heard of it.
Yeah, the story just came out today. I was screen sharing it earlier. The whole reason why they did it is pure social justice reasons and the Me Too movement.
They don't care about actual statistics. It's all about just the message. Because you can see the same thing with that what's her name, Megan Rapinoe, and the USA soccer team. They're complaining about equal pay when they don't make even a fraction of the money that the men do. Nobody cares. And Bloke probably even talked about it better, being from the UK and everything. Soccer being much bigger over there. Football. No one cares about female soccer. No one until the World Cup comes around or the Olympics comes around. The women's World Cup this year made like $140 million. The men made like 4 or 5 billion. So you mean to tell me that you want the women to get paid the same as the men? What if we just make the men paid the same as the women? Well, we can't do that because then all of the men will stop playing soccer.
Yeah, here's an interesting point on that too. I don't know if you knew this or not, but the women's U.S. national team played a high school all-star team in an exhibition game and lost.
13 to 15 was the age group for that team. 13 to 15-year-old boys.
And the women's national team lost that game.
Hey, Bloke, does anybody in the world care about female soccer? And I'm not trying to be I'm just like actual factual. If they do, then I'll eat my words. But
growing up, I've never seen in England or anywhere a female soccer team until recently. It's about the numbers now. I don't think the turnout would be very good or the stats. It's all about the numbers. But unfortunately, it's not a scenario that people are bothered with. Nobody's going to go out and buy a female soccer shirt.
The only female sport that I've ever had any interest in, other than gymnastics, because man, those female gymnasts, man, they do some crazy stuff. It's like, holy cow, did you see those splits? But the only other thing, because and my kids will watch it. We'll sit during the Olympics and we'll watch like gymnastics and swimming events. So, but others outside of swimming, because we'll watch the women's swimming, watch women's gymnastics. The only other women's sport that I've ever bothered with or shown any interest in watching is women's ice hockey. That is a very highly skilled version of hockey. If you've never watched women's ice hockey, they are very skilled players. It's a shame that they haven't been able to get a league to take off for women. Because I think that would be the one professional league where it might get some interest if they can get it off the ground. But women, I'm not a basketball fan to begin with, and women's NBA, I have no interest in it. Women's soccer, I have no interest in it.
The NBA pays like half of the salary for the women's NBA. So all the money that they were supposed to be making off of jerseys and ticket sales and all this other kind of advertising didn't happen. So the NBA is subsidizing about half of the WNBA.
I think the only sport you're going to find close to equality might be professional tennis, where female athletes have been fairly well established for years.
Yeah, they still don't make as much as what the men do. I forget who the top grossing male tennis players right now, but he was making twice of what Serena Williams was.
Yeah, but he also didn't get beat by the 178th player in the league. You know, Serena Williams was the number one woman in the world for a long time, and I agree with Gary. Female tennis is definitely an attraction. I mean, that's a sport where, you know, the talent level is so high that it attracts a lot of people there. But Serena Williams admitted, and she even talked about losing to, like, he was like 178th ranked when he beat her, and then he got dropped down to like 500th ranked and challenged her again, and she said no because he's going to beat me again. This is the number one player probably in history for women, and she herself admitted that she cannot compete with men. If she played Roger Federer, she would not score 1 point.
If you
Yeah,
guys,
everybody. Go ahead.
if you guys were old enough, you would remember the Battle of the Sexes back in the 70s between Billie Jean King and
I was gonna-
a guy by the name of Bobby Riggs, who is a 50-year-old former professional tennis player.
yeah,
And
I was going to bring that up too.
he had beaten who in the year before he'd beaten like Margaret Court or something like that, some fairly well established. So Billie Jean challenged him the next big thing in the Houston Astrodome, huge audience, and she beat him, and it was a big deal that an established tennis star beat a 50-year-old man. So
Yeah, and he wasn't. And the best part about it is he wasn't taking it serious. He was treating it as a joke the whole time, which is why
he never
she beat
took
him.
his warm-ups off.
No,
Well,
and
I'm sorry, Rich. Go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say he never really trained really hard for it either. I mean, he was treating it like a joke from the beginning. That's all I
If
was
you
gonna
want,
say. Go ahead.
if you want to bring it into just men on men, I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. I'm a huge UFC fan. And when Conor McGregor boxed Floyd Mayweather made him look stupid because you cannot, no matter how good you are at MMA, you cannot step into what's considerably one of the best boxers ever and strictly box that guy and expect to do good. Floyd
If he could have
Mayweather,
used kicks, if he
You
could
haven't
have
seen
kicked
me
him, he would have
boxed.
knocked his ass out.
right, but that's not boxing. That's not boxing. Floyd
Yeah.
Mayweather's never thrown a kick in his life. But Conor McGregor's never been a world class, considered the best pound for pound boxer ever. So that's why Floyd Mayweather beat him and beat him as easily as he did, is because you take somebody at the top of a specific event, sport, game, or whatever it may be, and then put somebody who's really good at that but not the best at it, and they're going to beat them. You know, it's just that,
Yeah.
so it doesn't have to be just men versus women, but since the discussion is men versus women, if Megan Rapinoe stepped on the men's soccer field, she'd get dusted.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago, something like that. They did one of those wrestler versus boxer scenarios where you had the Big Show, who at the time was the biggest guy in WWE, going into a match against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather hit him one time and broke his orbital socket. In case you don't know, that's the bone that holds your eyeball in place. And he beat the biggest wrestler in WWE with one punch, essentially.
It doesn't matter how tough you are. If you don't know the mechanics of boxing and how to dodge and defend yourself, you're going down.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like Midnight Range is twice my size, and whether I'm like, you know, Bruce Lee over here or not, I'm gonna have a really hard time if I get into a fight with a guy like that in a back alley who's angry and trying to kill me, not nice and, you know, just being a funny troll like Midnight Range. You know, he's just too big for me to honestly think that I could be able to deal with him.
Unless
Right.
you were highly trained in the martial arts, and you might stand a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the name of that trainee that's in the MMA, Fallon Fox or something like that. Kingpin, you're into the
Yeah,
MMA stuff.
I'm pretty sure.
She,
Yeah.
he, whatever you want to call it, almost killed a competitor, a female competitor that they were going against. She fractured her skull.
Well, that's what's another thing that I don't get about the hypocrisy about it all is if your goal is to promote women and empower women, then why would you let? Because it's happening all throughout high schools. They're letting boys join the women's track teams. A man just set the women's weightlifting world record by like 10 times what the record was before because he's a dude, not a woman. So you're hurting women's sports by allowing men who claim that they're women to compete.
Yeah,
It's like in Connecticut. In Connecticut, they just had the one high school girl and her family filed lawsuit against whatever the governing board in Connecticut is for letting those two males say they're girls and compete in their track meet. Neither one of those boys were good enough when they were competing as boys to make it to the state competition. They completely dominated the women's competition when they were allowed to compete as women.
Yeah. I mean, the genetics are different. We're built completely different. If you look on a medical side point of view, we're much stronger. I mean, you're comparing deadlifts. Eddie Hall, who's the world record holder, I believe it is, he deadlifted 1,100 pounds. There's no way a woman could do that. It's impossible. Structure. Their structure is completely different. Their design completely different. It's not humanistic for a female to compete with a best female cannot beat a best man in that particular discipline.
Right.
But on the other end, though, if you guys are into kickboxing, there was a man who turned into a woman. His name was Pineria or something, and her first show, she dressed as a woman, and the guy was making fun of her, and she totally kicked the crap out of him. So it was pretty funny. But then again, genetically, he was not a woman; he was a man. It's just impossible. It's impossible for a female to statically beat somebody whose structure is, the bone density is much thicker, the muscular structure is much bigger. We're built for demolition, where a female is not.
Yeah, traditionally men are built to be the ones to go out and do the fighting, the hunting, and everything. Women are the nurturers and everything. That's I mean, but of course, if you tell anybody this, you're a misogynist. It's not misogyny; it's biology. But people don't want to look at that anymore. Everybody's equal. There's things women can do that men can't. There's things men can do that women can't. Get over it, people. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
I totally had a misunderstanding of what a misogynist was. I thought that was where you go to get a massage.
No, that's a masseuse.
It's a misogynist. Come on, pronounce it correctly.
My bad.
I get arrested every time I go to one of those places.
You might be going for the wrong one.
But he's always smiling when he leaves.
So, are we done with this topic, or you guys have any further thoughts on this?
I'm willing to complain about whatever you want to talk about.
I don't know.
I don't know what I want to talk about this one. When do I ever come with more than one topic? Kingpin, you know this by now.
Do you want to give us any previews on the new guns that you got to shoot there, Snobby? How are they working out for you? You like them?
I just walked in from shooting him. Whenever I got on here, yeah, That Kimber's really nice. Really nice. Shoots really nice too. And the 22s, they shoot fine. They were kind of picky with cheap ammo, the bulk ammo. They didn't really love it too much, but they were great with CCI mini mags and any other Aguila or anything better.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, well, the Smith & Wesson was pretty good with it. It only had a couple hiccups, but the Browning didn't like it at all. Every magazine probably had one hiccup with it, with the cheap ammo. But anything better than it. Like that Aguila is pretty cheap ammo that I shoot. If you buy it at Cabela's, it's like $30 or 25 or something bucks for a big box. The 500 round box.
The 22 you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Taurus TX didn't like it either.
So what do you think it is about the 22 ammo, like the bulk, quote unquote, cheap stuff? Is it just made that cheap? Just hurry up and get it out the building? Is that why there's
I
so
think
many
it's just,
problems?
yeah, there's no consistency in the powder too and stuff compared to others. But that Aguila worked fine. But the Remington, and I didn't have any Federal Auto Match. I thought I still had some of that. Usually that works pretty good and everything. But that Remington Thunderbolt, it didn't love it.
Yeah, and it also depends on what 22 you're using. If you're semi-auto 22s, they can be finicky to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, something that might work in a 22 revolver or a 22 lever action gun might not work in a semi-auto 22.
Oh yeah. Well, that Ruger SR22 though, that little thing will feed anything and just run like a Singer sewing machine. It don't matter if it's the cheapest stuff there is, it'll feed it. But this didn't really care for it. But these are target guns. They're made to run a little higher end ammo.
What kind of Kimber did you try out?
Kimber Classic Carry Pro. It's one of the custom shop Kimbers.
Yeah.
Very nice gun.
But nothing bad to say about Kimber.
No, I do it either. A lot of people do, but I have an Ultra Carry too, and I've never had one issue with it with good ammo. And this thing, I just ran 208 rounds, I guess, because I ran one mag of hollow points to it just to see what it did, because I know everybody likes to hate on Kimber.
Yeah.
But I had zero malfunction. Well, Stacy had the first shot she took with it. It failed to eject. It hung up and then failed to eject. But I can look back on the video and show you why it did that, because she was not holding it at all. She wasn't planning on it having any recoil, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't even counting that, because it didn't do it after that. I told her, I said, you got to get a hold of it and, get behind it and it'll be fine. And she did, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Never had one hiccup with me, so.
Well, like I said before, the only hiccup I've ever had was on the trigger, and the reset was messed up on it. But there's a screw, Allen key screw in the trigger that you can reset. And after that, never had a problem. But that was a full size 1911 custom 2. Love that gun.
A friend of mine's got two of the Kimbers. One of them is the full size. I don't know what model it is. I haven't shot it for about a year and a half. But I put about 20, 30 rounds through it, and it was pretty nice. And then he got the Kimber Micro, and I shot it right out of the box. Like before he even shot it, I put 100 rounds through it, and it functioned really great. The only problem that he had was the fiber optic front sight fell out while I was shooting it. But
that happens to a lot of guns. So
yeah, he said he was just gonna like hot glue it back in place, but I put 100 rounds through it fresh out of the box, and it functioned really nice.
Yeah, I haven't adjusted mine right out the box. It's dead on mark every time, man. Never had a problem with the sights yet, but and what everybody else is saying. But great gun, nice, real. Just sits well in the hands.
I see General's comment, and that ammo, I'm sure that's the same one I was buying. He said 15 to 16 a box online. And I was getting it at Cabela's, but I haven't bought any in probably a year, because once I figured out it would work in my Henry survival rifle real good, I bought 3 boxes of it. And I think I gave like 25 or 28 bucks a box then, but 22 ammos came in a year. 22 ammos came down a ton. So it probably is a lot cheaper even at Cabela's now. Probably still not $15, but yeah, that's the only thing that'll run in my Henry survival rifle other than like CCI mini mags or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, CCI is great.
And you guys talking about errors with your 22, it reminds me, did you get get a chance to watch Military Arms Channel's latest video on the 60 PC? I can't talk tonight. P365?
I watched a few minutes of it, and I figured he was just going to badmouth it, so I really just quit because he usually does that.
Oh no, he didn't badmouth it too much, but he did get one that has another problem. This time none of the springs broke or anything like that, but the crown isn't cut right in it. When he was firing it, you could see where copper was building up around the crown of the muzzle.
No, I didn't see that.
He said
I'm still going to buy a 365.
Yeah, he says he loves the little gun. It shoots nice, but every time he gets one, there's a problem with it. He basically is not happy with SIG's quality control at this point. But he wasn't really bad with the pistol. He said he's going to have the guy from Definitive Arms redo the crown and see if that fixes the problem.
I think he's just like my stepmom. My stepmom, anywhere we go to eat, if I go to eat with my dad and stepmom somewhere, it can be the best restaurant in the world. You never have a problem. You go with her, as long as she's there. The waitress sucks or the food's cooked. I mean, there is just some way about it. Something is terrible about your experience that time. Everywhere she goes, you could never go to a restaurant and have a good experience when she's there. So I think it's just that's how Mac is. I think he just every SIG he gets, he just has a bad experience. Every 365.
Yeah, I put a close to about 1,000 rounds through my 365 and never had a problem.
Never have. Why will my computer wouldn't mute?
He's had a problem with every single one he's gotten. It's like he's just snaked it, and they've all been different date manufacturers too. Is the worst part. You watch the videos on it, he's just like, it's just one of those things. He must get every damn lemon on that comes out of the factory with those things.
That's odd. I wonder what kind of ammo he's firing. Did it say?
He fired all kinds of ammo throughout today. The video that he put out earlier on the one he just got, he filmed it on the 4th of July, and he was using Federal American Eagle, that stuff.
Which I will say, that's about the first video I've ever seen him do with the 365 that he hasn't used junk ammo. Because all the other ones, he was always using that crap that went bankrupt, Freedom Munitions. And
there was one where he was using I'm trying to remember what ammo it was, but he was actually using a self-defense load in the one video, and it's still. But it wasn't the ammo. He's never had problems with the ammo. It's never been an ammo-related issue. It's always been something with the gun itself, like the one spring broke.
Well, I'm not even talking per se about the P365. Yeah. I'm just in general. Usually, he's always got some kind of problem with the gun, and he's always using that stupid Freedom Munitions for the longest time. And I'm like, I can't get no luck out of that crap.
Yeah, he was using that because they were sending it to him for free, so he would use that.
I mean, I'd use it too if they'd send it to me for free, but
yeah, lately he's been using a lot of federal stuff and Fiocchi.
I'd have shot 100 rounds of Federal American Eagle 45 auto.
Yeah, they put 500 rounds through the one he just got, and you could just see the copper. Every time he would show the crown and the muzzle, you just see how the copper was building. It was almost looked like it was slowly being copper plated right there around the crown.
Interesting.
And everybody that shot it, their shots were going to the left, probably because of the way the bullet was hitting the crown when it was coming out. So he's going to have what's his name, Chase from Definitive Arms, redo the crown on it. And then he's going to re-zero, and then they're going to try. They said do another video, see if that improves the issue that they were having with this one. And every time he's had one too, it's never been the same issue twice. It's always been something different that's gone wrong with his. He's had the P365. So it's just crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I got nothing on that, man. I've never had any problems with the 365. I've heard all the horror stories with the firing pin, and I mean, granted that supposedly it happens at 2,000 rounds, so I've got another 1,000 rounds, so I'll report back on that.
Well, the original, most of the firing pin breakages or the striker breakage, whatever you choose to call it, that's usually in the earlier made ones because of all the excessive. Because that's I'm going to preface this by saying all striker fired guns will have striker drag. It's just something that it's just one of their things. The 365s is excessively so though. I mean, they drag excessively. Even the newer ones, they still get excessive wear, but they're supposed to have fixed the strikers where they don't break.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so
Anybody
until we get
the 65 was it the XL?
what was that?
Anybody tried the new one yet? The XL, I think it is.
The XL.
I was supposed to get one and they sold it, so I assume I'll get one here in a week or two when they get some more in to try.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Tim said Tim in the video was saying that he's been trying to get one, but they're like anytime anybody's got them in stock, they're gone like that fast because they're not putting out a bunch of them at one time like they did with the original 365.
well, they had one for me down there, and then it sold before he got back to tell him, or before he even called him to tell him not to sell it. So I assume as soon as he gets another one in, he'll send it home with me for a few days.
Yeah, if you remember when the P365 originally came out, they flooded the market with them. They were everywhere. They're not doing that with the XL.
They smartened up. Got supply and demand. They don't have to drop the cost on it. Yeah, just looking over the website, there's a bunch of reviews on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. But you know, how many of those people don't like SIG from the get-go anyway?
Things are alright. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's a gun, you know.
I'm not a fan of the way they do their double action, single action pistols. But, other people love them. I'm just not a fan of the way their decocker and everything is on them.
It's a good gun. No complaints about it yet. How's that Janik? Bob,
I liked it.
did
Wish
you
I
give it
coulda
back already?
Yeah, I gave it back a while back. I liked it a lot, though. It's a lot of fun to shoot. I may end up buying that gun, one of those. It has a lot of features on it for the money. The only thing I have against it is the rear. If you put an optic on it, you lose your rear sight. You can't co-witness them because the optics on or the rear sight's on the optic plate. That's the only thing I have against it. If they fix that little issue,
I got a game we can play. If each of you were going to buy me a gun, which gun would you buy me? Go ahead, Rich. Tell me which gun you're going to buy me.
An M&P compact, an M&P 2.0 compact, either 9 or 40. Your choice on the caliber.
I'll take 40. Mr. Gizzard, what you getting me, brother?
Well, is this for a present or just because?
Well, I mean, because you want to give me a present.
Okay. Let's see. I know you'd like a nice Glock 19, so I'll get you one of those.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Thank you. That'll be my first Glock.
There you go.
I think Gary's just trying to pawn his Glock 19 off on you.
Oh, heck no. Nope. You get mine.
All right, bloke, you're buying me a gun. What you getting me, man?
So jokingly, I would buy you a Cobra Arms Freedom 380.
All right. I'm going to assume that that's a really nice gun. Thanks, man.
anything that starts with Cobra Arms is good.
You got your ears on, Rupan?
I just put the cheapest gun.
I'd pick you up a Gen 17 or Gen 5 17 MOS with a Hollow Sun on there.
There we go. That's my boy. All right, Snobby, what you getting me, man?
Well, considering you live in Maryland and you don't have a lot of choices, I'm going to get you a classic Winchester Model 94.
Heck yeah, dude! You guys are awesome. I'll be looking at my FFL for all of those to show up any day now.
I'll just send mine in the mail. You know, they won't mind.
Better. But
I
I would.
promise the one I'm buying you, they won't mind if I send it in the mail. So.
You could probably fit it in an envelope. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I was originally going to give you a Sky CPX2, but I decided to be nice.
Well, I'd have to donate that to Travis.
Well, he'd be your best friend after that.
If it worked.
See,
Well,
that's
they
a gun
work
I never
for
had
the-
any issues with. And I bet you I had, Lord, 2,000-3,000 rounds to it, at least.
You had the CPX2 snob.
Mm-hmm. I had it for a long time. I liked the little gun other than the trigger was terrible, but as far as reliability, it would run anything and never had an issue. I'm not going to say I'd go back to one, but after you get a divorce and that's all you can afford, that's not a bad little gun.
Yeah, but anymore, there's better options at that same price point. Like you can get a G2C for around that same price. Hell, you can get the heat cannon for that price.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. Me personally, I'll pass on the G2 because I just wasn't a fan of it. The trigger just didn't thrill me. I mean, it had no issues. It just didn't thrill me.
The Taurus?
Yeah, it felt like I was touching my palm with my finger. I got too big of hands for it. I think it's the biggest problem. Just it breaks so far back.
Yeah.
But I have no
I don't
issues
mind
with
the
it.
trigger on mine.
You know,
Carrying it right now.
I'd like to see the 365 with changeable grips, you know, like the Smith, where you can change it out for your bigger hand people. I guess you can get a.
You're not going to really see that on any subcompact. You're not going to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, mine, it's got a little bit of tape. Turn my camera back on. Now that I cleared the damn thing. See, it's clear. There. What the? Okay. Damn thing. There, now it's clear.
Yeah, I was about to say
All
that.
right.
Check that
Yeah.
again one more time.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't tell me.
No, it fell out that time. But the damn thing when I said it was clear, the loaded chamber indicator wasn't engaged. The thing was in the chamber. Figure that one out. Okay, but yeah, it's definitely clear now. Anyway, there's a little bit of take up, but that is crisp. That's a crisp break on this one, and then the reset right there. Right, damn it, that's not one reset. Ah, that's right. 'Cause I'm screwing this up, but you can feel where the reset would be if I would have recocked it. So there's double action. Let me do that, and you can feel the reset.
Hey,
Right
put yourself full
there, that's
screen. Put
Yeah,
yourself full screen. Put yourself full
Yeah.
screen. You're cutting your hand off.
Okay. Oh, so I'm
Can't
doing
see
you,
it.
in other words, on Instagram.
Yeah, all I can see was a grip.
Okay. But yeah, can you see better now? Where am I? There we are.
No, a little bit more. You're right.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
We're good here. Okay. See there? It's the trigger. Then I recock it. Let me see if I can get that turned around. Some other way. Reset's right there.
Uh,
Yeah, it just breaks all the way at the back is what I dislike about it.
Yeah. Once you get past that little I mean, you can actually feel the reset. I didn't recock it. I could feel the reset. The initial reset was right there. Then let it out some more, and there's where the reset is for double action if you got to do second strike. That's one of the things I like about this, too. It's like one of the few, if only, striker fire pistols on the market that actually would give you a second strike capability if needed. I have general relativities out there talking about it. He would take his shield over it. I got one of those too. I have a shield in 40. I also have 380 EZ too. So
I'm
I
a
like
pretty big
the
fan of the shield.
no, why not?
for what it is and the price you paid for this, it's not a bad little handgun.
Yeah, I
I
like
paid less
mine.
than $200 for mine.
It's not. I mean, I own the older version of that. So
I don't really have it. It's just my personal preference. I don't like where the trigger breaks for me. I don't have anything negative to say about it. Now, their customer service, that's a different story.
Yeah, their customer service, if you do have a problem, that's the one bad thing about them. But
Yeah, they're terrible. At least I didn't have good experience with them, but whatever.
Are you talking about Smith and Wesson's customer
No,
service?
no,
Taurus.
Wesson's got great customer service.
Oh, Taurus.
I'm talking about Taurus. Yeah. I only own 5 Smith and Wesson handguns. I like that. Well, one technically is my wife's, I guess. My wife's, she never shoots it.
I like the trigger on the Smith & Wesson.
Which one?
I have the original MP.
The M&P.
One.
The M&P 2.0's trigger is heads and up. It's so far above the original M&Ps, it's not even funny. The original M&P had a decent trigger. It wasn't the best in the world, but the 2.0's is much better.
Yeah. A friend of mine, he bought, I think, which one did he buy? I think it was the 2.0, and he put an Apex trigger in it, and he actually said he liked their original trigger better.
You get people complaining about the hinge trigger on the M&Ps. I like the hinge trigger.
Yeah, I like.
Was it you, Snob, that was saying you're not a fan of the dongle on the triggers?
I think so. I don't have a problem with it. Wasn't me, I don't think.
Somebody said.
I think it was Slim, maybe. Sure wasn't Slim. I think he was talking about it, maybe. Somebody.
Maybe it was.
it's Slim and you confused a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're both real slim, so.
Yeah. Well, he's a Cowboy. You're a Cowboys fan. I mean, as in the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Snob's a lot closer to me
Go Pokes.
cowboy than Slim is. Slim just likes to dress up like a cowboy.
I don't dress like a cowboy.
Yeah.
But
But I
you're
can
I
rope.
don't know why people have a problem with this trigger. I like the. I'm not a.
On the shield? I just have the.
shield is compact.
Oh, I can't tell what it is. It's so blurry. Is that your camera or mine that's blurry?
My camera
There,
blurry,
now I can
guys.
see it. Now I can see it.
That's the
But that trigger, I mean, that's a crisp trigger. It's got a nice reset. And I don't know why people complain about the hinge trigger. I don't mind that at all. I prefer that to the dongle trigger.
I don't have any issue with the hinge trigger or the dongle, but I've got the Gen 1 Shield 9. And I have no issues with that. Everybody says, "Oh, the trigger's so much better on the 2.0," but I've got a buddy that's got a 2.0, and I can't tell any difference.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Mine feels just as good, and it's that little bit easy to shoot.
Yeah, my shield is 2.0 isn't the 2.0, it's the original. But I'm wondering if mine isn't a later one. Maybe yours is a later one too. I don't know. But I'm wondering if they didn't put the 2.0 triggers in the later shields because that trigger feels like this one's trigger. My shield's trigger feels like this trigger.
Well, it's got a good trigger, and even he couldn't tell the difference either shooting. I mean, he's got the same exact one I do, only his is 2.0. But mine's pretty new, so it could have had the newer trigger in it even. But
yeah, that's why I'm wondering if the first gen shields, when they got to the right before the 2.0s came out, if they were putting the 2.0 triggers in them at that point.
I mean, the 2.0s were out whenever I bought this one, so
Yeah, I got mine right before the 2.0s came out.
I mean, it was out whenever I bought it. So
they're basically.
I only gave
giving-
$229 for it, brand new. $229 or $249. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look, but it was real cheap.
For
Yeah,
the
I think I
shield?
paid $259.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I paid about $250 for my shield 40. Right then, and it was like a week before the 2.0s came out. So they were marking them down. And so I'm wondering if, like I said, if the later ones, if they didn't have the 2.0 triggers in the later first, 1.0 shields, because that trigger feels just like this 2.0 compact trigger.
Snob, where's the missus?
On her show.
Oh.
They're having gun gals right now.
Yeah.
I'm watching it somewhere on one of these screens. I mean, I like typing the chat every now and then.
Now, with all this said, the best trigger that I have in any of my handguns is my Smith & Wesson 6.7. That thing has a beautiful trigger on it. It's the Pro Series revolver. And I'm going to probably tick off a bunch of CZ fans right now. I like the trigger better in this than I do my P10C.
That's what my wife was going to buy, but unfortunately, she chose the big one. So she could easily cop the EZ.
One of these days, I'm going to find a time to put these things away instead of sitting them in the cases. But if you go into the range, these cases that they come in, if you don't get a chance to put them away, you don't get a chance to put them away. Yeah. I mean, the trigger in this isn't bad. Oh, goody, I'm doing a Paul Harrell. If Gary was looking, he would get that.
I heard you.
But yeah, this one, it's got a decent trigger. And there's the reset. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of the super flat face triggers. Really, I prefer a little curve to the trigger.
I like a flat trigger.
Again, it's personal preference, but I mean, it's got a good trigger. I just like the feel of the Smith & Wesson trigger better. I'm talking about the actual trigger itself. You know, this piece. Trigger pull wise, this has a good trigger pull and stuff. But I'm talking about the actual shape of the trigger that the piece that your finger goes on. Your trigger blade, I guess you could call it. Yeah, the rounded one on the Smith & Wessons, I just like that better.
Rich, I'll be right back. Hang tight.
All right. I've heard some people complain about suppressor height sights if you don't have a suppressor, but even without a suppressor, these sights are pretty much dead on.
Well, at least it comes with them. That's what drives me nuts. If a gun has a threaded barrel or an optics cut, it should come with suppressor height sights.
Not only are these suppressor height sights, they're also night sights. Wasn't that another thing you were complaining about? It didn't have night sights on it or something?
Yeah, it had a fiber optic front sight, which is fine on like a competition gun, but I didn't really feel like that Canik was built to be a competition gun necessarily. But maybe that's what the plan was. But to me, it was more of a, I don't know. I think if it was going to be a competition gun, it would have been a full size, not a compact. So, or the mid size, whatever. I guess compact's what they claim it to be.
I could use this as a competition gun. It's the 10C. It's the compact, but yeah. This thing is accurate. This thing's accurate enough to where it can be used as a competition gun. And it's got a 17-round mag. Put 15 in, you count 2 more because the dots only go to 15. It's basically a standard P10C mag with a 2-round extension on the bottom.
I'm waiting to hear back from CZ because my guy there got me in touch with CZ. And anyways, the CZ rep told me to tell him what I wanted, and I told him the P10S, the optics ready P10S. So we'll see. I mean, I wanted the orange one, but I didn't ask for it. I figured the $2,100 price tag might be a little tough.
Yeah, the dehydrator is asking us the following question. I'll put that up here on the screen. Are you using any RMR type sights and thought of them? The only RMR type sight I have is actually on my Pepper 12 shotgun, which is an 18.5-inch barreled AK shotgun. Well, it's actually, I guess it would be closer to being RPK style. StockX uses RPK. Receiver. There we go. I was drawing a complete and total blank on the word receiver for some reason. But yeah, that's the only RMR I have. I don't have any on handguns or anything like that.
Well, I tried a bunch of different ones, and the Hollow Sun 507C is my favorite. And I'm fixing to either build me a polymer 80 gun with it on it or buy something that's already cut. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't made up my mind 100%, but I'm doing something putting the 507C on it, I think.
I put on my wish list, on my short list of things I want, one of the Shield 2.0 4-inch performance center that comes with the RMR on it. Try one of those. Because I got that real tiny little RMR now for on the little subcompact type pistols. I'm gonna try one of those out.
I really like the Canics. General's talking about that. I really like it. I've shot 3 different models, and I have no issues with any of them. They all shot great. That Elite Combat Executive, though, oh, that's such a nice gun.
Yeah. How much is the Janik, whatever the hell you want to call
The Elite Combat Executive was $678, but it's completely fully loaded. But they have those other ones, the Elite or whatever, that's pretty decent priced.
it? Yeah.
In the
He's
three
saying about the price. Yeah, he's saying that the CZ's a little bit more expensive. Get yourself the P10C like this one. I paid. I don't know if you how many of the Urban Gray are still available, but you can get these in black as well. This I paid $4.99 out the door for this one. The only thing it doesn't have is the slide cup. You can get that done for not a whole lot of money. Be about the same price probably as what the Canic that you had would have cost to get it fully done. Get the slide cut for it and everything after you buy the pistol stuff. It's an option for you too. Generally, get the pistol, and then as you get the little extra money, you can get the slide cut for it. You might not even need to. If you get this, you might like the sight so much you might not even have to bother putting the RMR on it. These sights are real easy to pick up. I know everybody's talking about for competition. They want the Shadow 2, but you don't got the money. This is a good option. Same. And Mia's out there now. How you doing, Mia?
I think I'm going to bail and go work on typing me up some kind of script thing and on notes and all that so I can get all that ready to record a video. Probably won't record it till tomorrow evening so I can release it on Tuesday. I record it tonight and then edit it tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably already in trouble for being over here and not watching Gun Gals.
I'm watching. I type every now and then.
You're faking it, is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Have a good night, Snobby.
Yeah, I'll see y'all later. I'm going to go work on this.
Night, Snobby.
I'll be back if y'all are still going when I get bored with doing this.
Depends on if Midnight's doing his show or not.
See you in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, bye.
Yeah.
No, we want to talk a super high-end pistol. I got one of them too. There's a little brand by the name of HK. That's this beauty right here. Probably the best 40 Smith & Wesson handgun ever made. I need to get some bigger mags for it. These are the original 10-round mags that came with it when it was made in 1994. I just never got any bigger magazines for it. I never used it as a carry gun, though. It's mostly been a range toy. But, man, I just wish more companies did their decockers like this. It's your safety. Safety on, fire, decock. You can carry this thing cocked and locked just like you would in 1911. In fact, if you look at the controls, they look like 1911 controls. You got your safety, like what a 1911 would have. The only thing is, this doesn't lock the slide closed like what your 1911 one would. And then down is fire, and then they just add the decocker. And then your slide release lever is, and yes, that's what HK has it in the manual. This is not a slide stop. This is your slide release. HK specifically puts that in the manual as being such. So yeah, there's the decocker. Y'all see that?
Yeah. Looks similar to the KP90. Ruger.
This feels good in my hand. If you got small hands, this might be a little bit big, but for my hands and everything, this thing is just so comfortable. Especially after I put the Talon grips on. I didn't even put the Talon grip on because it had bad grip. I put the Talon grips on because it has these like little pyramid shapes for the front and back strap, and they just dig into your hand when you're shooting this. Your hand gets sore holding this because of those damn little pyramids. So I put the rubberized Talon grip on there. And that improved the grip so much. It's much more comfortable to hold with that on there. And it really didn't increase the grip size all that much. My youngest daughter loves this gun. She's like, if something happens to you, that's mine. Yeah, okay. And the slide is so smooth. It's almost dry right now, and that thing is so easy to open. Have you ever seen the recoil guide rod and stuff on this thing, how it works?
No.
Give me a minute, I'll break it down and show you, because it's different. I don't think there's another, because it's patented to HK. So, I don't think there's another company that has one that's just like it. And it takes down just like a 1911 when you pull out the slide stop and just slide it off the front, just like the 1911. It doesn't have, but it's bushingless. There's no bushing at the front,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to worry about that. Let me get the barrel out of here so I can show you how this works. Okay, here's your barrel. Looks like your standard Browning action barrel, right?
Right.
Here's the difference. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Right there on the back?
Yeah.
That's your lock. There's your locking lug. Your locking lug for the barrel isn't in the frame. It's on the recoil lug.
Huh.
And it's a double recoil. You got your first recoil spring, and then there's another one inside there. It's a double action. It's a double recoil action guide rod.
Huh.
On top of that, so when you have this hooked together, then this sits in there, and then your pin, your takedown pin on your slide stop goes through here, and this is what holds everything together, just like that, inside the frame.
What was the purpose of doing it that way?
It alleviates the snappiness of the 40 Smith & Wesson round.
Ah.
This was the first pistol custom designed to handle the 40 Smith & Wesson round. At the time when this was made, everybody else was building their 40 Smith & Wesson pistols around their 9mm frames, which is why you had Glock frames breaking and stuff like that, because they weren't made to handle the round. The chambers weren't properly supported, and it led to cracking of the frame. And by the way, this is the same action that's used in the Mark 23. The Mark 23 is based on this pistol. This otherwise known as the SOCOM, Mark 23 SOCOM.
Yeah.
This is the older little brother of the Mark 23 SOCOM.
Hmm.
But HK was the first brand to actually build their pistol around the 40 Smith & Wesson and then bring out a 9mm version. Everybody else just took the 9mm, including SIG, and put their 40 into the 9mm. Which, again, that's why you had some of the early polymer versions like Glock that had the issues. And this is a polymer frame pistol. And you can see that that's a polymer frame pistol. But that's why they got that recoil system the way it is to help alleviate the pressure on this frame. And it also helps with the snappiness. A lot of times with the 40 Smith & Wesson, it'll be flippy. This one is almost flat shooting like what a 9mm, as far as your recoil, like what you would get out of a 9mm. And it's not light. I mean, it's not as heavy as the X5 Legion that Snob was doing a video on. This one doesn't weigh as much as the Smith & Wesson end frame, but this is a heavy slide on here. So that helps.
How's the reset?
On which, the double action or the single action pistols?
The single action.
There's your double action reset. Pull back and resets there, which resets almost all the way out on the double action. Single action, okay, there's that. And the reset is right there. If I let go of the trigger.
So it goes all the way back to the pull on that's all the way at the back.
Well, on single action, it's like a 1911.
Yeah.
The trigger is right there, and boom.
Yeah.
The trigger pulls back when you pull it back. But then double action's right there at the front, and it's a long pull, but it's a smooth pull. There's no grit to it at all. This is a USP A&A. The VP9 and VP40 are striker fired. This is single action, double action, hammer fired. And yeah, no problem, General. It is an interesting action. Literally, it's like the one handgun that I can think of that doesn't just have, a guide rod. It actually has a recoil assembly to it. It's got a whole recoil assembly in there. That's not gas operated anyway. Like the Desert Eagles, they have a recoil system in there because they're gas operated. And what were you gonna say?
The PX4 Storm Breda has a double spring in it too, but it's got the odd.
There's other ones that have double springs, but they don't have the locking lug on there like that. The way this one's made, it's patented by HK. HK still owns the patent on it. I think they use it in the P30 as well. I might be wrong on that. I haven't taken a P30 apart, but I think that I know they used it on the P2000. I don't remember if they used it on the P30 or not, to be honest. But they used that on the Mark 25 or the Mark 23. Excuse me, Mark 25 is a SIG. They used it on the Mark 23. They used it on the USP. They used it on the P2000. Now the USP Compact, that actually has a flat spring. the recoil system on that. It's
Huh.
a flat spring. It's even different than this one.
Interesting concept.
I don't know if let me see if I can find the picture and I'll show you, because it's wow. Finding all kind of USB springs, but not the one I'm looking for. Well. I guess not too many people took pictures of the internals of the USB compacts. But yeah, these are all full size. I'm looking at now. Well, they got one where it's actually comparing the USB spring system to, or that's not even the USBs, that might be the P30s, but comparing it to the Shields. Because the Shield has a double spring setup, but it doesn't, not set up like this one. Again, it's different. Let's see, maybe they changed it. It used to be like a flat spring. Maybe they changed it to see. Yeah, they must have changed the way they. Well, it's a flat spring, but it's not the flat spring like it used to be. I'll show you what this one looks. Because this one you can see it was the spring itself was round, but I'll show you anyway. So you'll be able to see what the difference is when I show it to you. I'm gonna screen share this. Okay, that, and then go. Where's that? There we go. You see that? See how the spring's different?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
do.
it's got that little like buffer right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the newer version of the HK USB compact spring system and everything. But yeah, that's what they look like. Whereas this has your standard round spring. You get a lot of guns now. They're using flat springs for their recoil systems.
I'm trying to remember. I think I have. I have to double check on that. Maybe I do have one. It's a flat spring like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my if I remember right, my 2.0 compact and my CZ both have flat springs like that.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what it is. It's the it's not the 2.0, but it is a Smith & Wesson MP. It has this flat spring.
But they don't have like this buffer, and you can see it still has the unlocking lug on the assembly itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was developed for the USP pistols. The locking lug being on the recoil spring itself, or the recoil rod. Now the compact only uses a single spring, so they're a little bit more recoil sensitive than what the full size is. Yeah, with them having the lug on there, I guess that was easier to do than the double spring like the USP. I mean, like the Shield does. So, I don't know, but the Shield's double spring doesn't work like the USP's does either. I'd have to take it back apart to show you. Or I can find I can find a full picture of full size, I guess. And if I find a picture of the full size, it'll give you a better view of it anyway, because the picture will be bigger, right?
Sure.
Is this the full thing, or is it just the spring? That's just the spring. That's not what I want. No. I love when you search for pictures and it doesn't give you the one you're looking for. There we go. Nope, that's the compact. God damn it. That's the compact. That's not it. That's not it. That's a barrel. Yeah, see, here's a contrast in pictures. So that's the compact, that's the full size.
Oh,
You
wow.
see right there the difference in them. And you can see there's like that little piece in there where the rod goes through, and there's actually, it makes it where it's wider. So this second spring actually has a place where you can actually move and recoil.
Mhm.
Whereas the Shield, you would have the big spring out front here, then it stops, and you have the little spring back here. This actually, the big spring, the main spring goes all the way back, and then underneath there is where you have your smaller spring.
Yeah.
And again, both have the locking lug. And you can see how the locking lug is shaped different at the bottom on the full size compared to the compacts. And this one's just like a round, and this one because this gives you a little bit of room for your recoil system to actually slide backwards. Because right here is where it goes in, and then you got that much room for that whole system to slide backwards, which helps dampen the recoil a bit. Whereas the compact, it's right there and it's held in place. It doesn't move at all. So, there's your differences between the USB full size and the USB compact, as far as our recoil rod assemblies are concerned.
Definitely a big difference.
What was that?
There's definitely a big difference.
Yeah. Like I said, this one, the compact has that little bit of a buffer at the front. But yeah, that's the difference between the two. This one looks like it's been shot a little bit, or has a replacement spring on it, because that's a little bigger than what the one on mine is. Yep, that's the differences. So next time you all see a USB, now you know what the insides look like.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
We lose Gary?
Mm,
Yes, we did.
yeah.
Did he say what? No, he just lost Gary. Okay. Did I forget to send Johnny Sprague a link? Johnny Sprague out there? A&A's talking to him.
Yeah, I've seen him out in the chat.
Okay, yeah, there he is. Yeah, I forgot to send him the link. You want to, you got his email, right, Kingpin?
Yeah.
If you want, you can forward him a link.
All right.
Get some more people in here. Yeah, General Relativity is saying about how his Shield has the two-stage spring with a flat main and a round secondary. Yeah, the Shields are like that, but they're still different than the HK because they don't have that double recoiling system like what the HK has. It's slightly different, but they do have a double thing recoil spring. I think. Oh man, I need to take a drink. Hold on. But yeah, I mean that does help with the Shield's recoil. You never fired a Shield. They're not as violent as what some of your more subcompact shaped pistols are, because they do have a double recoil spring system in there. Now I got to take this thing back out and take it apart, because I don't remember if the Taurus has that or not. I hate that you can't put that on this thing. Safety on. What was that?
Yeah, I shot the Shield and the 43X
Mm-hmm.
together, and I definitely like the Shields a lot better than the X.
Yeah, see the Taurus has like the Shield style. Let me lock on myself here real quick. Yeah, you can see this. The G2C has like the Shield system. That's basically the same way the Shield is set up. Take the spring out and you can see it better. See, it's got that double spring that way. Whereas the USPs, it's actually comes out. The main spring actually comes over top of the secondary spring. So this is the way the basically the same concept that the Shield has.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have my shields handy; they're both upstairs. Now the 380EZ does not have a double recoil spring in that. That's got a single, more traditional style recoil spring in it. But that thing's recoils so light it doesn't need a double spring.
Yeah, it's such an easy slide on that thing. It's not even funny.
Yeah, that thing is super easy to rack the slide and everything on it.
I honestly, I don't know why my wife did not choose to to buy that. She bought that big old freaking full size frame, and you know she doesn't wear jeans. She only wears those spandex or the gym shorts. She can't.
The 380EZ it's just a really nice little 380. It's closer in size to what the 2.0 compact is, especially if you get like the 3.6 inch.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 2.0 compact. It's bigger than what the 3.6 is. It's like I'm trying to remember 3.7, 3.75 inches overall, if I remember right, somewhere in that range. So it's almost like Glock 19 2.0 compact size, but it's a single stack 380, and it's thin. And it's an internal hammer fired gun. It's not a striker fired.
Yeah.
It's got the grip safety and the thumb safety like what 1911 is. It's almost like a 1911, a polymer 1911 with an internal hammer, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the hammer on it's like it's got like a little miniature, almost looks like an AK like hammer inside there.
I like that gun, man. It's a perfect gun for my wife. Yeah, she can.
The 380 EZ.
Yeah, the 380 easy. Yeah, anything. She's got such tiny hands, and she's such a small framed woman. Anything larger than that 380 easy, it's difficult for her to rack it. You know, I mean, she can, but she has to put a lot of force in a situation where I always suggest carrying it barreled, but my wife isn't at that point yet, so she doesn't carry chambered. But
Now, I got a question for you. When your wife's trying to rack the slide on a handgun, is she trying to pull the slide back?
no,
Is that what she's doing?
So initially, yes, she was. So, and you know, myself and the instructor that I hired said that's the wrong scenario. So she's been doing a lot better, but still, I think it's more reaction. What she just needs to do is get out there and practice more, because initially that's what she was trying to do was rack it back. You know, she just doesn't have the strength for that.
So what the instructor told her to do, grip it and then push the frame forward?
Yeah. Push it.
Yeah.
Push it forward as hard as you can, and you know, which is much easier because you're using you completely using a different set of muscles.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. That's what I was going to suggest. That's what the problem she was having.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest the exact same thing because it's easier to push than it is to pull.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you don't have big enough hands to grab that slide where you can get a good enough grip, you might be able to get a good enough grip to where you can actually push forward with your right hand instead of pull back with your left hand.
Well, what's happening, and I'll give you the medical version here. So when you're let me turn this on so I can show you.
Hold on, we lost you.
Oh.
Okay, you back.
Okay, so the group of muscles that you're going to be utilizing in your hand are your lumbricals. Okay, so that's all in here, this area here. So when you're pulling back, your grip strength, if you're pulling back on that slide, there's not a lot of grip strength because it's called a lateral pinch, right?
Right.
But when you're holding the gun, you got your grip in your palm of your hand, and your thumb is pushing it. It's a much easier push because not only you're engaging just your lateral pinch, you're engaging your entire arm into it. So
Right.
basically using your chest opposed to just your lateral grasp. That's your medical terminology here.
Yeah, that's why anytime somebody's got like small hands or if they have an arm injury or anything, it's always easier for them to push than to pull.
Absolutely.
The slide.
Well, yeah. Again, it's your lateral pinch right here. That's probably one of your weakest grasps. You got your gross motor grasp, the cylinder grasp, your lateral grip. This one is you use it for a key to turn the door.
Right.
Right? But if you're using your to rack it and you're pushing in, let me just check. Okay, it's empty. But you're pushing in. Now you can even feel it in your upper pectoral muscles here if you're pushing in.
Right.
It's a much easier stance.
Yeah, the more muscle you can put behind something, the easier it's going to be.
Bingo. And taking that from me, she didn't take it very well. And she's a therapist, and I'm a therapist. But listening to her husband, it was a bad scenario. So I had to hire an instructor to tell her how to do that.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Yeah, and with the EZ, getting back to that, I mean, she would probably have an easier time with their left hand to try and rack it too, because the way it flares out at the back, if your fingers actually get purchased on the back of that, and that would help pull back as well.
Well, I think what the instructor said was you definitely want to rack it with your shooting hand. So if you're going to shoot, and I mean, I can concur with that too, but if you want to shoot and you're in a situation to switch hands, that would be difficult.
Yeah.
Then you're ready to rack it. I'm trying to get her enough to.
I'm going to go grab my EZ so they understand what we're talking about because we both know what it looks like. The audio may not. So I'll be right back, folks.
Kingpin, you still there, man?
Yep, I'm still here.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Just wicked tired. Just absolutely wicked. So what happened, I was supposed to catch a plane to Fort Lauderdale on Friday. And I set my plane didn't take off until 6:20 in the morning. So I set my alarm for 6:45. Well, I woke up at Friday at 6 a.m. because I set my alarm for 6:45 p.m. So so I missed my plane. So I had to drive 5 hours to Fort Lauderdale to take my test, and then the problem is I couldn't even catch my plane back because what the hell am I supposed to do with the car?
Right, yeah.
It was a rough weekend.
That sucks.
It sucked.
Move my magazine. I did have a 380Z magazine over here.
So what's the difference between that one and the Performance Center, Rich?
Of what one? This one?
Yeah, that's the EZ, right?
Yes, easy. The Performance Center comes with fiber optic front and rear. It's got a little bit longer barrel because it's ported. They got a single ported front. This and I'm trying to remember if it's metal or just plastic still, but this one's plastic. The other one comes in different colors. The trigger comes in different colors. And the trigger's probably going to be tuned a little bit more because Performance Center, they always like tune the triggers on them and stuff. which make it a little bit smoother trigger pull and whatnot.
So yeah, I'm looking on the prices for those EZs, and they're roughly about the same price as the Shield now. Maybe a little bit. I mean, just a little bit more.
Yeah. But you can see here what I was talking about, where it's got those tabs on the back of the slide.
Yeah.
So if you grab it, it actually is catching onto your fingers, and you can give you a little bit more leverage to pull it back.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
if you grab it, and I usually grab like this and pull back. Anyway, on any of my handguns, I don't just like do like this. I usually grab it like that.
Yeah. Well,
If I do like this, I'm pushing forward, not pulling back. I'll usually do like that anyway. Push forward. But with this, I've actually done this. My pinky and my thumb, and you can like do press checks just with your pinky and that, but just these two fingers.
yeah. It's a great slide. I love that slide on there. They did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Now I'll take this down and show you what the inside looks like. But yeah, you see right here. See right there where my finger's pointing?
Yeah.
That's your hammer. See how it almost looks like an AK hammer almost?
Yeah, it does. Huh.
So yes, your modern sporting rifle type hammer that's inside there.
Mm-hmm. So can you explain how they got the slides so smooth and easy?
I guess is that the lightness of that recoil spring.
Yeah.
With it being a larger slide and stuff, you don't need as heavy a spring as what you would have in the smaller ones, like the LCP and that. They have a really heavy spring. This is a lighter spring, which makes it easier to distract the slide.
Yeah.
So you get like the LCP, some of those other, I can't remember all the Browning Pocket models and all those, the little 380s. They all have they have a smaller spring, which is a higher weight to the spring, which makes it where it's stiffer to pull it back. So that's basically what it is. It's basically the size of it's what makes it easier to back the slide and everything.
Yeah.
It's weird, but when you're talking about like springs, smaller is heavier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the smaller it is, the thicker the metal is, right?
Yeah, and the stiffer it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're talking about, when they talk about weights on the spring, they're talking about how much pressure it requires to pull to compress the spring.
Sure.
So when you got a bigger spring or a lighter spring, I get somebody wanting to join in. Rupan's back. Okay. Anyway, I take it back apart again, but I'll show you the spring. But when you get the looser the spring is, the lighter the spring is, because it takes less pressure to compress it.
Sure.
So that when you hear I'm talking about spring weight, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how much pressure it takes to compress the spring.
Right. Right. Pounds per pressure pounds per pressure inch.
Yeah. So you're lighter. Anyway, the lighter the spring you have, the easier it's going to be to direct the slide. Mm-hmm. With those pocket 80s and stuff, they have to have that heavier pressure spring in order for it to operate effectively and reliably. When you get the larger 380, because 380 isn't really a high pressure cartridge, it doesn't have a whole lot of recoil native to it. The reason why those little ones have as much recoil as they do is because when you get a handgun, whether it's a revolver or semi-auto, one of the biggest mitigating factors on recoil is the weight of the weapon. The smaller your gun's going to be, the more recoil you're going to have.
Yeah. Well,
it's law of physics.
Cartridge too, right? Because the bigger the cartridge, the heavier the gun has to be in the spring, because it won't function properly.
Right, and then the smaller the gun, the heavier the spring has to be, or it's not going to function right as well. It works both ways. So, and again, it just goes back to Newton's law of physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The smaller the gun you have, you got the same reaction coming out of a bigger gun. It's going to generate more recoil.
So I'll throw a ring in there. So Newton's theory is how we say pounds technically it's not supposed to be pounds, it's supposed to be newtons. So 1 pound is equal to 1 newton, just an FYI. Interesting theory on that. That's a little bit of physics.
Yeah, basically that's all it amounts to. Is the smaller the frame, the more opposite reaction you're going to feel.
Yeah, I think have you ever shot a PX4 Storm?
No, I haven't.
I'll tell you what, man, I was very impressed with. Now I haven't shot the 40 cal, but I shot the 9, and the recoil on that, I mean, it's minimal, just minimal. If you've seen it, have you seen the PX4, the
Yeah.
9 So it's
Yeah,
got
I've seen them. Never shot one.
yeah, so it's got that turning barrel, right? When you cock it and then it shoots, the barrel turns.
Yeah, it's got the rotating barrel.
Rotating barrel, yeah. But the mechanism in that is it's got the double spring in there too. But I tell you what, man, it's for a frame that it's bigger than the 365, but the recoil on it's unreal. I'm very impressed with it.
Yeah, the recoil on this. Don't it? Yeah, fix my cameras. There we go. The recoil on this is ridiculously light.
Well, yeah.
I don't even know why the Performance Center they even bothered to port the barrel, because it really didn't. It really doesn't need that to be ported. But I guess to make it more fancier because it's a Performance Center. I don't know.
Sure.
But it really doesn't need it.
What do you put in there as far as the bullets?
This is a 380, but I don't have any of them. I don't have any of the ones I have handy. But I got these ones here in front of me.
Too.
Man, this is what I'm using. It's a 90 grain, I believe, hollow point.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, let me present again, or whatever they call it, so that you can see it better. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the 90 grain hollow point. Get that big old cutout in the middle there. And with this having a little bit longer barrel than what the Pocket 380s does, you have much higher chance of expansion with the hollow point out of this, because you're going to get more velocity out of it.
That makes sense.
As your typical Pocket 380, you got 2.5 inch barrel, something like that.
Yeah.
2.5, maybe 3 inch. This is almost a 4 inch barrel, so you're going to get more velocity. You're going to have more expansion out of your hollow points with something like this than you would with a Pocket 380. It's going to make it a little bit more effective.
And more accurate too, right?
Yeah, yeah. And one of the reasons you actually got real sights on this, most of your Pocket 380s, the sights are cut into the slide. This has actual sights that can be changed out.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to, I could get night sights and put them on here and whatnot.
Oh, great little guns, man.
Yeah, it's a nice gun. And it's not real heavy. It's lightweight. And if you're comfortable with a 1911, you'll be comfortable with this.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't found a gun that I'm not. Well, I wouldn't say not, but I've thoroughly disliked. But then again, I haven't gone into high point or anything like that. So.
A&A 380 is more powerful than 22, man. I hate to break it to you. I can see your point with 25 ACP, but with I would take a 380 over a 22 every day. 380 is not as finicky as what 22 long rifle is, especially in semi-auto. And 380, as long as it's out of this handgun, is going to be a lot more powerful than what a 22 long rifle is going to be.
Oh, heck yeah. Let's see here for a second. I'll tell you the specs on that. you go. Hold on. No, that's a forum.
Oh.
I mean, the grain alone is a big difference.
Yeah. 22 hollow points for average around 35, 40 grains maybe.
Yeah.
This is 95. This is 90 or 95 grain. One of those, I don't remember which one, but it's either 90 or 95. And this would be moving around 900 feet per second, something like that. Maybe a little more than that, since this is almost a 4-inch barrel. So, this is definitely going to be a little bit stronger.
Put a bigger hole in, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Well, I got an email from Rupan. He's having internet issues right now, so that's why he had to drop out again. Sorry to hear that, Rupan. If you're out there, hopefully next time you'll be all right. Yeah, that happens. Trust me, I know how that goes. Yeah.
It's a Magnum. No?
My old internet used to be really bad.
You changed out your internet?
We moved. I wasn't gonna be able to change my internet where we lived before. We had really, really bad DSL where we lived before. We were paying for like 6 megabits. We weren't even getting 1.
Oh, wow.
And that was the best we could get. With satellite, we call it with satellite. Yeah, you get this much until you use this much data, and the amount of data they gave, we would have used that in like a day, and then we would have been right back to where we were.
Oh, it was satellite?
Yeah.
So you didn't even get internet when it rained?
Yeah, if you have satellite internet, you don't get but we didn't have that. We had regular DSL. If we would have switched to satellite, we would have had a lot better for the first day of the month, and then every other day we'd have been right back to where we were. It was like, so that wasn't worth it, and we've been paying more for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, we're screwed until we moved. Now we get like, I forget what our speed is, but it's a lot better than what it was.
Yeah. I'm so dependent on my internet just for grad school purposes too. So I gotta have like high capacity internet. It's important.
Yeah, I was going to school when we had that really bad internet, and I was taking some online classes. That was real fun.
Dial up?
No, it wasn't dial-up. It was that DSL. But it was better. Instead of watching the videos as they were playing online, it was better for me to download the video and watch it just directly off my computer at times. Because it would buffer so bad if I was just trying to watch it streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And doing live shows on that internet was real fun. Go watch some of the early episodes of this show.
Yeah.
You'll see how bad my internet was. Obnoxious complains about how bad his internet is. His internet is better than what I had. Ozzy's out there saying he uses Underwood Extreme Defender in his 380. Yeah, Paul Harrell did a test on, I don't know if you've seen the video, on various 380 ammunitions, and the Underwood Extreme Defender did really well in his testing. Another 380 ammo that did really well was the Federal HST. The ammos he tested, the best ones were the Underwood Extreme Defender and the Federal HST.
That's the Extreme Penetrator, right?
No, the Extreme Penetrators is the next level up from the Extreme Defender. The
I think-
Extreme Defender would be your basic defense round, whereas the Extreme Penetrator has more penetration. So if you're using that, you're gonna risk going over penetration. But the Extreme Penetrator is meant to go through hard barriers, whereas the Extreme Defender isn't so much.
It was based on it though, wasn't it?
Yeah, they basically use the same projectile, but one's loaded, one's heavier bullet and uses a slightly different powder charge.
Yeah, I think it was the Extreme Defender. The bullet weight is 65 grains.
Yeah, and they both look like a Phillips head screwdriver.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what that one is. 65 versus, oh wow, 90. The penetrator is 90, where the defender is 65 grain. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, but they're solid copper, but they have the way that their bullet's shaped. When it hits, it creates a big wound channel.
Yeah, yeah, it flattens, right? I guess it
No, they retain their shape. When you pull them out of the target, they retain their shape.
really.
Yeah. Yeah, and he could get 3 to 4 22 long rifle shots with very fast with 95% and no recoil. This very, very little recoil. You can do the same thing with this as you can with a 22, and you have a bigger, faster move. Well, not faster, but bigger bullet moving. Creating a bigger hole than what a 22 will. If all you can carry is a little pocket pistol, a 22 pocket gun, knock yourself out. If I'm able to conceal carry something like this, I'm carrying this over 22. That's all it is.
I guess the advantage of carrying a 22, if there is one, I would say more bullets, right, in the magazine.
Not really, no.
No,
your semi-auto 22s are you're looking at maybe the same amount, between 8 to 10 bullets. But what you're going to get in a 22 semi-auto handgun, if that. Yeah. So
there's really no.
yeah, this has 8 plus 1 in the chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, 22 long rifle is some of the hardest wounds to treat in the emergency room. But usually when people are brought in with 22 long rifle wounds, they're still alive. So, whereas the other bigger calibers, it's a much different split. Hey, Travis.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not bad. The first time you've been on the show, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm finally around to to take your call. So, hey, I'm digging the StreamYard, man. You liking it or what?
Yeah, we've used it for a couple shows now. Gary used it the other night, and then like the day you put your first video up on it, I went and tested it and had Gary and Snob and RL, and I forget somebody else jumped in. Might have been Obnoxious.
Yeah.
And then we went so we tried it offline. Their offline test feature.
Yeah.
And it worked pretty good. So then Snob went and he opened up a live right after that, and we actually did a live show from testing it. And then Gary used it on Friday, and I'm using it now. Works pretty well.
Get my lamp turned on. I can turn my camera on. It's a little dark in the apartment here. There we go. All right. Woohoo. I mean, I really like it. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to let us use the free version before they start charging, but doesn't matter, man. We'll take it.
Yeah, Gary went and paid the $25 a month for.
I thought it was only. See, I thought it was only $20 though, isn't it?
It is if you pay yearly. If you're paying it by the month, it's $25. If you pay yearly, it's $20.
Well, it's cheaper to pay by year then, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you get $5 off a per month if you pay for it a whole year up front.
Well, I mean, part of me wants to just do OBS and kind of run it through Discord and stuff, kind of like what Matt does. But I mean, that's not really complicated. It's not that hard to do. But man, the ease of this is just the thing that gets me every time.
Yeah, and I like how if you're the host, you can actually see your YouTube chat without having to pull up the separate chat window and everything.
Yeah, that's a cool feature. I think we can see who's the best YouTuber by seeing who's got the longest waiting list to get into the panel.
We were that happened on Gary's show on Friday.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know if you saw his show on Friday night.
I was watching a little bit of it. There we go. I got my hat on, man. Look at my bald head. There we go.
And with this, we do have a private chat too.
You were saying that this streams live to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're streaming live to YouTube right now.
Yeah, I can't seem to find it on YouTube though.
Let me see if I can find it here. I had trouble finding it as soon as I finished my test stream. I couldn't find it, but then it popped up eventually on my feed. But let's see.
Yeah. YouTube doesn't like me or something because my stuff doesn't always show up. Obnoxious was saying.
Typical. What's up, Ari Betty?
I'm guessing maybe they don't like the fact that I was picking on Muslims or something.
Well,
Even if I was telling the truth.
Bloke's also new to your channel, so he might not.
YouTube doesn't like if you tell the truth about certain things.
Does that make a difference, Kingpin? If I'm new?
Well, yeah, sure. If you haven't watched the show as long as like I have, then it's not going to come up in your recommendations and stuff like that as much as stuff that you watch on a more regular basis.
But I'm actually on his channel.
What's that?
I'm actually on his channel looking for it.
What,
Oh,
Rich? What's your channel's just Rich White, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, this is the Unloaded Media.
Oh, Unloaded Media. Okay. Yeah, I'm subsubscribed to you, so okay, there you go.
You're both looking on the wrong channel.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of Rich Whites that are on YouTube. Yeah, it's live right now. Yeah. What was it? What were you saying about James Bond? James Bond is a what? I'm really late to join your stream here. What's?
Oh, you haven't seen the story. They've announced.
Dude, I haven't. No, I've been super busy, but yeah.
They announced who their new James Bond is.
Oh,
it's a black woman.
Really?
Yeah, the one that played Captain Marvel's sidekick, the pilot.
Yeah.
That's the new James Bond.
Well, if she can kick my ass and pull the trigger, I'm down. That's cool. I'm not, hey man, whatever, more power to her.
The reason why they did it is what I have issue with.
Just because it's the PC thing, basically, or what?
It's political. It's completely political. The reason why it's full on Me Too movement. They've actually come out and flat out said it. It's just because of the Me Too movement.
It's not because they don't think some other person can develop the character further than what exists right now.
Yeah, I saw the article pulled up. Let's see if I can find the quote.
With the Men in Black International, they kind of changed up the formula a little bit too.
How to do at the box office.
What's that?
How to do at the box office.
I didn't watch it.
But
That's the problem. That's the biggest problem with the whole thing is if your business model is not to change the world, it's to make money. And if you're making a movie and changing the main character because of my reasons and my racism and stuff like that, then your business model is going to fail. That's why all these movies end up in the tank, just like this James Bond movie is going to do.
Yeah, and the thing is, they still have Daniel Craig in it playing James Bond, but he's going to hand over the role to this black woman at the beginning of the movie. And here's the quote from the Fox News article on it. The insider claims that the Bond 25 script will maintain all of the classic Bond elements, including action and fight scenes with star Daniel Craig, while also tackling the super spy's role in the Me Too era, but with an injection of humor over overt preaching. Now, we all know that Bond is a womanizer, right? So if they're going to maintain all the classic Bond elements,
I was just going to say the same thing.
Are they going to make her a lesbian now?
When in Rome.
I mean, they might as well cover all bases at once, right? If they're going full social justice warrior on it, make her a black female lesbian.
The thing with the Bond humor is that it's always like a little bit of dry humor he injects here and there. You know, if they go out of the way and make it comical or almost like an action movie or whatever, that's or not an action movie, but like breaking that fourth wall kind of thing. You know.
Well, I mean,
that depends on the Bond. If you look at oh, go ahead.
I said the dry humor goes with the British culture there. You know?
Yeah, but it's if they make it too zany, that I'm done, man. I'm done. I mean, I'm going to give it a chance. I mean,
look at Roger Moore's Bond. Some of those movies had some really overt comedy to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't always dry humor in the Roger Moore movies. Like look at Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, the Louisiana sheriff. That was clearly overt humor there. That wasn't, but it worked. It worked because it was a culture clash kind of thing, you know.
I know. I just imagine. I was gonna say, I think about the first 5 minutes of Casino Royale where they're doing the black and white flashback and Daniel Craig smashing that guy's face through the sink. I hope she can do that. If she can do that, then I'm down. But I don't know, man.
Well, if you listen to when I was reading the quote, Daniel Craig's going to be doing that kind of crap. So what's her role going to be? Because it said that the action scenes are going to be with Daniel Craig. So what the hell is the woman's role going to be?
They did basically copy the Men in Black formula. Then they kind of copied the Men in Black International formula. Then
what they should have done is copy the black exploitation movies back in the day, like the Jackie Brown movies and stuff like that, because those were great movies. Jackie Brown brought it, and you could see that sister going in there and kicking some butt and really being gangster and cleaning up the neighborhood and all that. Like those were actually well done movies with well developed characters, even though they were low budget movies. That's why they're classics. This James Bond is going to be forgotten a month after it comes out because people are going to get tired of making fun of it.
Yeah, what's she going to be? The new chick from Casino Royale, the Ava Green's character who ends up dead at the end.
Is this just going to be just like a one-time thing, you think, or is she going to take over the role?
She's supposed to become 007. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, they say that they said earlier in the story that Daniel Craig is going to hand over the moniker of 007 to her at the beginning of the film, but he's supposed to be in it throughout the film. So I don't know how they're planning to do this.
I wonder if she's going to take the martini line too. Shaken, not stirred.
Let's make a bet. I'll place Daniel Craig. James Bond is going to find a woman that he's going to fall in love with, and he's going to leave the spy business to go raise a family, and then that's why they're going to break out the whole whatchamajigger. And it's going to be a man, by the way. It's going to be a man, not a woman.
Oh wow!
Have you never seen on Her Majesty's Secret Service? That's basically what the plot of On Her Majesty's Secret Service was, except where his wife got killed at the end, so he went back to being a spy again. She was killed on their honeymoon or something, Travis?
Oh man, I believe
you remember
so.
that one, right?
That was the original. That was the black and white one, right? That was the original.
No, that was the George Lazenby one.
Oh no, I was thinking of the original Bond movie, the very first one, the black and white one that came out before it was.
Yeah, the one that was made for American TV. That was Casino Royale.
Yeah.
You know, Her Majesty's Secret Service was the George Lazenby one. He got married and his wife gets killed while they're on their honeymoon, and he goes back to being a spy.
Oh man!
And George Lazenby was an idiot and walked away from it. They wanted him to come back for more, and he's like, nope. He said that was one of his biggest regret in life was not doing another one like they wanted him to, because he was originally supposed to be in Diamonds Are Forever, and he said no.
Well, they did make a lot of money, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Crazy. What else have you guys been talking about tonight? You just been talking about James Bond the whole night, or what?
No, No, we've been talking about different guns and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Like,
You probably wouldn't like that, Travis. We talked
No,
about guns
not at
for a
all.
while.
No, no.
I was showing them how the recoil action in the USP works because it's different than other handguns.
I've been seeing some real good prices on those. Recoil Gunworks has the 40 Smith USPs for $469. Is that a very good price? A used one for H&K USP.
Yeah. For how much?
A $469 used for a 40 Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the full size or the compact?
I will look it up real quick. The Recoil Gunworks, man. I check that place like every couple of days because they've got dirt freaking cheap. They have M&P 45s, 45 ACPs for $279.
You want to know if that's a good deal or not? If I had the money, I'd buy every one they had.
Aren't they normally like $900 when they're brand new? Isn't that the MSRP on them?
Yeah,
like $760 or something.
I paid $600 and something used for one.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
I know because I mean I remember them being somewhere around like if you go to recoilgunworks.com and then go to police trade-ins.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. You're talking the HK USP used.
Yeah, I will find the link and I'll put it on the internal for you here. Yeah.
That's an insane price.
They got the 6 hour P229 for $349 with the DAC trigger. Here it is. Heckler and H&K Heckler and Koch USP 40 Smith & Wesson with night sights for $449.
Jesus Christ, that's insane.
Yeah, here I'll put the link down for you.
That is an insane price.
I mean, it's 40, but still, it's an H&K, and it's like I don't know.
I'm a 40 Smith & Wesson fan. In particular, I like the 135 green 40 Smith & Wesson.
Well, I just think I just spent your allowance for you. There you go. Oh, you can't click on the link. You can highlight it, but
I ain't got no money.
Here, I'll put this in the link for everybody else. Here, guys, go buy yourself an H&K 40. There you go. You're welcome.
Are you a mod?
$449 comes with the factory H&K plastic box. Night sights are a little bit dim. They do show some holster wear. Overall, they'll be in good to very good condition. It's a used pistol.
Man, I would.
How are parts for those? Are they pretty pricey for like recoil springs and stuff like that? Are they very expensive or not?
It's an HK.
Yeah, but I mean, a $700 Beretta, you can get a $30 recoil spring for it. I mean, yeah. I don't know if there's much aftermarket support for them at all.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that out there on the YouTube site too.
They got the USP V2 40 Smith. Oh, that's the lefty model, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. It's the ambi model or something like that. I can't remember what the thing is with the V2.
I don't remember what the V2 is. I have a V1. The V1.
Let me see here. It says
V1 is safety decock and decock.
Exposed hammer with safety and decock lever on the right side of the pistol for left-handed shooter.
Okay, so that's a lefty model.
Okay, but still, that one's $469.
Yeah, and you can easily convert it. They're easily. Yeah. That's the thing about the USBs. They were made to be converted. You can convert it to the right-handed if you have right-hander version.
Oh yeah. Here's Kentucky State Police trade-in Glock 35 Gen 4 40 Smith for $399. They got tons of SIGs. God, they're throwing SIGs away. P226R for $419, 229R for $399. That looks pretty badass. It's got a rail on it. Subcompact 320 for $479. And whatever you want. So, the best deal out of all of them, in my opinion, the M&P, the original M&P in a 45 ACP for $279.
Wow.
With very good condition.
Let me see. You were asking about the recoil springs and stuff for those. Let me see.
There you
go. Those would be.
Here's the link for the Recoil Gunworks, their main page for the police trade-ins. But that I don't know, that may be one of my next pistols that I pick up because that price is just insane. CZ P10C 9mm with night sights for $349.
Yeah, well, the Wolf Springs, aka gunsprings.com, they want $10. They want $8 for recoil springs, depending on the weight. Oh, they're all $8. $7.89 for their recoil springs. Whether in the US, the 9, the 40, and the 45 all use the same spring, so that you can get for anywhere from a 10-pound up to a 20-pound recoil spring.
Hey, David, do you guys have the FN M249S semi-automatic rifle on the list at Maryland for you guys to buy if you want to get it.
I have no
Is that
idea. I'd have to check.
Here you go. Dude, it's the like commando style, you know, like machine gun looking M249. That thing is sweet, man.
I'm guessing that recoil spring for the USP would be the main recoil spring, because the USP has 2 recoil springs.
Is that a captive guide rod or not? Is it all self-contained unit? You can take it out and it won't shoot off or anything like that?
Yeah, it is, and it also has the locking lug on it.
Okay.
The locking lug is actually part of the recoil rod.
Oh. Is there any like parts that those are known that have that fail or wear out prematurely or anything like that, or not?
No.
No? Okay.
Those are the HK USP is what the HK Mark 23 SOCOM is based on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 45 ACP, is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that gun, man. Thing's freaking awesome.
Yeah, those were based on the HK USP. The USP was in development first, and then when they came to, propose the competition to get the contract for that, HK decided they were going to put that on hold, but use what they were doing with that to come up with the Mark 23.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Are we talking about the belt-fed machine gun here?
Yes, that would be it, David. Yes.
Yeah. I would imagine that's not going to be on my shopping list.
Yeah,
Doesn't that thing look awesome? It's $8,179.
Worth every penny.
Yes.
I mean, well, maybe if you use the 10-round belt, David.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the 10-round belt strips, you know.
Yeah.
As long as that isn't an adjustable stock on the end, then we're good.
Oh, it is. Unfortunately, it is.
Oh,
It's a paratrooper model, so it's got the collapsible stock on it.
we can pin that and be straight.
Is it standard M4 stock?
Yep.
M16 stock? Well, you can put an A1 stock on there, no problem.
There you go.
I don't know if you can on that gun. I think that's the back of that receiver's its own. It has its own stock that they put on it. I don't think it's got I don't think it's got traditional. I don't even know how
Put an additional buffer tube on there.
I don't know if there is, because I think it's probably was it piston driven. I don't know anything about the M249, to be honest with you. I just know what it looks like, and I know what it is, but I don't know anything about the mechanism on how they run.
I don't remember if the 249 has a standard buffer tube on it anymore.
Yeah, you can. Well, if you look at it, it's got kind of a thick rear receiver, so I would probably say not, but I could be wrong. I'm not going to say yes or no. But yeah, if that's a good deal on that USP, that might be something worth looking into, you know? Even on a police trade-in, they get a lot of SWAT trade-in guns on that website too. They're pretty heavy in the police trade-ins. They got more than I think just about anybody else out there.
Yeah.
Oh, at Sportsman's Warehouse, they also have a pretty good selection of used police trade-in guns too.
You get those a lot on Classic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, see, the thing with Classic is they'll have like 3 or 4 models, and that's all they have. But then, if you go to these guys, they've got like 30 of them, 30 different pistols to choose from. But
if I had the money, I would buy one of those USPs to convert it to a right-handed model. I mean, that is an insane price for those. That is a crazy price on a used USP.
What's the difference between the regular USP and then the V1? Are they completely different guns?
The V1 is the standard. The V1 is the standard with the safety and decocker right-hand model.
Yeah, okay. And then what's the then there is no non-V1 is what you're telling me.
Right.
Okay, because they have just the regular V1, and that's the one that's $469. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one I got. Only without the nut plates. Here, I'll show you. See, this is your standard V1. It's got the safety decocker on the left-hand side.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. How's the trigger on those? Is it pretty smooth, or are they nice?
There is no grit in that double action at all.
Yeah.
And then it's double action first shot, and of course single action.
Yeah.
Try to get used to this.
Yeah.
And single action, boom. It breaks like glass. It has a little bit of take up on the single action, but then it breaks like glass.
That might be one worth looking into, man. I'm telling you, they look like they're in pretty good condition too.
Yeah, if I had the money, I'd buy another one. I love this gun. My youngest daughter loves this gun.
See what they say about it.
Yeah. I guess I can take, since I got it out again, I guess I can take it down and show you what the recoil system looks like on this thing. And by system, I mean system. It's it's your standard Browning action, but it's not your standing Browning action, if you know what I mean.
The C magazines are no problems either. Trying to find them, they're like $20 a pop.
It comes down like a 1911. You push out the pin from the right, pull it out the left. The pin's part of your slide stop. Slide release. Then you just slide it off the front after you eject the magazine.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but then it slides right off the front.
Huh.
No bushing. It's bushingless. No bushing.
All right.
Other things on the website are out of stock.
What was that?
A lot of these guns on that website is out of stock.
No, that's in stock for the H&K.
But yeah, you see how that is? Oh, good. Good, bloke. What were you say?
Yeah, I was saying a lot of the guns on that website are out of stock.
Yeah, the first probably 2 pages of what you look at. You got to filter it by price, go high to low.
Gotcha.
And then at least the first page, everything is in stock. And that gives you a good selection of SIGs and Glocks and HKs. And then after that, it just goes into like accessories and some lights and stuff like that. And then a few random. They've got some 6 Sauer 5.56s. Those are very expensive. They got those. They got some Colt carbines. Yeah, Colt carbines are out of stock. Yeah, like only the first page is basically in stock. But still a pretty good selection. But I mean, man, the fact you can get a freaking M&P 45 for $279. I mean, my God, that's Taurus money right there. You know.
Yeah. But you see that there. Here's your locking lug. It's actually on your recoil.
Oh wow.
Your guide rod, and this spring is super light. I can push this with my fingers.
What's the advantage of the locking lug system? Is it a little better accuracy, or what's the?
This is made to reduce the recoil on 40 Smith & Wesson.
Okay.
That was the whole design of this.
Okay.
What happens? You get your barrel, standard Browning action barrel.
Yeah.
It locks in there like that.
Okay.
So you got your standard lock. Then this is a double recoiling rod. If you look, you got your main recoil spring on the outside. In the back here, see there's that little oops, let me get it on camera.
Little mini spring going on there. Yeah.
You got the little piece in here, and then there's a tube that the main recoil spring runs through, and then inside on the outside of that little tube, you can pretty see it pretty good. I think there's a second spring underneath the main spring. So this piece here, the main recoil spring recoils, and then it recoils again.
Okay.
And then when you have it locked together, let me get this locked in here and then find out where I put that in.
I'll say it looks like a typical German over-engineering, but it actually is functional this time. So
yeah. And then when you got your pin through, you see
a
little bit of play too. So this actually will move backwards a little bit.
Okay.
And then your barrel and everything will start to recoil. So it dampens that the muzzle flip and the snappiness that you get with the 40 Smith & Wesson.
Sweet, man. That's pretty cool. How much you say those are brand new?
Brand new, you're looking anywhere between $900 to $1,000.
Oh my God.
And they don't make them as much as what they used to. They're a limited production run now.
Well, being it's in 40, there's probably even less of them that are.
Any of the USP, because it's also in 9 and 45.
Yeah.
The 45 is a little bit bigger, but they're limited. The USP is limited production now. Mostly, they will concentrate their double action, single action production these days on the P30.
Are they proprietary rail? It's not 1913 standard, is it?
Yeah, this is proprietary.
Okay, that's no big deal. That's fine. That's cool, man. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and drop out and go jump over to Midnight Ranges chat.
Oh,
that's
he's
cool.
up now?
Yeah, I just got the link for his too. So
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna be winding this down anyway then.
Cool, man.
Yeah, I put in the internal chat a while ago that he put out the links.
Oh, I've been gun shopping.
I don't have that put up. I don't have the private showing because I was looking at the YouTube chat. That's the one downside. You can't see both at the same time.
Yeah, there really would be no way to do that, would there? Now that I think about it, not bounce between, since you only have one interface.
Now where you said pancakes, send out the links. Okay, so we're gonna start winding this down. So don't leave yet, Travis.
No, it's all good, man. I ain't going nowhere.
Give you a chance. We'll start with you. You got anything you want to plug real quick?
Yeah, just check out my channel, Travis P11, and I'm hoping to get Caliber Corner up and running within a couple weeks. I'm just super busy right now. And yeah, check me out, Gunstreamer, YouTube, GunTube, gunchannels.com, guntube.org, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm everywhere.
All right. Next we'll go to Bloke. You got anything you want to plug real quick? before we get out of here?
Yeah, thanks for inviting. It was awesome. Always a great experience here. I've now up and running is my new website, abloke2cents.com. And from there, you can pretty much find me wherever you want to. So click on it and subscribe. And check out my channels.
Yes, be sure to check out all the panelist channels. Kingpin, anything you want to plug real quick?
Oh man, have a good night, dude. Thanks for having me. Always fun.
Yep, no problem. And with that, folks, we will see you next week. And that's about it. Don't PP in the code box.
Adios, Felicia. Damn. Adios, Felicia.
These are saying Felicia.
There you go. Lederhosen, Felicia.
No, you would be wearing the lederhosen.
What? Who? Oh, yes, that's right. Well, no, I mean, she can if she wants. I mean, who am I to? Hey, James Bond is now a woman. Anything's possible.
James Bond's without a black woman, anything's possible, right?
You know what? I mean, anything's possible, man.
Hey, Ariel's a black woman too now. Come on.
Say what?
Oh, you didn't know about that one?
No, really?
They're making Ariel from The Little Mermaid a black woman.
Oh, dang.
Yes.
All right. There you go.
Yep.
So it's like in 10 years, is Shaft going to be a white guy or what?
That's what we were talking about. I was watching The Amazing Lucas earlier. He was like, what would people think if in the next Black Panther movie, Black Panther 2, if it was Ryan Gosling playing Black Panther?
You know, you said it. I just remember reading an article that they were thinking about a black guy going for Superman.
Oh, have you watched Krypton on Sci-Fi?
No.
Zod's a black guy.
Oh, really?
Yep. And he's also Superman's grandfather.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
Did
that
not
might
know
be a spoiler. If you haven't seen the show, that was a spoiler. That was like the season finale. Season 1, season finale. Anyway, bye, folks.
Later.
See you then.
He's out.
Okay.